So I decided to spend this beautiful weekend. It's Saturday, November, what, 4th, 9:25 in the morning. I know that I've had this machine for well over a year. It's probably been close to 2 years that I've had my Sebo X for, and I just have not made a video of it. It has been in my Mila Twist video, but I never have done a solely individual video on this machine. So, first I want to start out by saying that I don't have my dusting brush. I don't know what happened to it, and I just never been interested in purchasing one. I will at some point, and I'm going to be buying a brush roll for this vacuum as well, but I just haven't done any of it. So, mostly because it's not that I don't like the machine, it's not that I'm not impressed with the machine, but it's definitely the least used one. To me, for being so expensive, it has a lot of basic features or no features at all. The one thing that I don't really care for about it is there's no on-off brush roll. I think that that should be something that vacuum cleaner companies should be on the bandwagon for. That's a below model feature. If you look at Riccar and Simplicity uprights, their Vibrance and their Symmetry uprights, their base models don't have on-off brush rolls, but it's offered in their higher end models. A Sebo X4, you're going to be walking out the door paying more for it than a Miele Dynamic U1 or an S7 upright. Okay? I know that this vacuum is like $700, $800, depending on who you buy it from, where you buy it from. Sebo X4s are expensive. But you can walk into a vacuum store and walk out buying a Miele for less than $400. And you can step up into one of their higher end machines like their Cat and Dog for like $649, I think it is. And I'm sure they'd talk you down, which they may even cut you a deal on this too. But with a starting price higher than most of their Miele counterpart uprights or their competitor uprights, you're probably not going to get as good of a deal. This machine is probably just as heavy as the Miele, if maybe a pound off, but I think I said in my last video it probably weighs just as much. It's still not lightweight, it's still very heavy. It's mostly due to the power head on the vacuum with the design that it has with the automatic brush roll adjustment. On the back of the vacuum, pretty basic, pretty simple. You have your dusting brush, or not your dusting brush, I'm sorry. You have your crevice tool. It's a nice crevice tool. It's pretty long, so it's going to be able to get deeper into things, whereas like on vacuums like my Electroluxes, they have or the Ultra Silencer has like this stubby crevice tool that's pretty much worthless. Then you've got your upholstery tool. Not a big fan of this upholstery tool. You have a large, sorry about the light, rotating bottom cord hook, and it also doubles as a handle. You can barely get your fingers really into it to be able to pick it up. I do like the Miele's better, but at least they offer one, so that's a plus. Then you've got your cleaning wand here on the vacuum. So the way that this works is it comes out like that from the vacuum, and it locks into place, as you can see. So, well, it should lock into place. There we go. So I've locked it into place. So that's pretty nice. The only problem with this is it's top mounted, so you can see as you pull the vacuum cleaner, I don't want it to fall over, but it will fall over. And I've seen in vacuums, not commercials, but company reviews of like the Pro Team Pro Force uprights that are pretty much knockoff Electroluxes. They say that when you're vacuuming, you're supposed to keep one hand steady on the vacuum and then the other hand using the upholstery tool. I don't really care for that, or the wand. I don't like that rule. I don't really care for how that's all set up. I think that that's kind of a joke. It's because of the way that they designed the vacuum. But it's nice because the dirt comes right through the bottom. It goes right up and into the bag, and it's a top fill bag. There's not many other ways that you can do a top fill bag without creating a bunch of problems and things, and like hairpin turns inside the vacuum. So when you put the wand back into the vacuum, it pushes on this little button here. And you heard that. That was the hose going into well, I guess it did the reverse. Usually when you press that button and it's inside and you turn the vacuum on, it sucks the hose right into the vacuum wand. That's why the wand is so chunky. But this is your hose. It pops off here too. You can buy an extension for the vacuum. I think it's like a 9-foot extension. I don't have it because, again, I don't really use the vacuum. I'm going to take this hose off. Kind of a pain to do, especially with the handle on the vacuum. And you can take the handle off the vacuum too. You don't have to leave the handle on. Okay. I don't think that this handle or this hose is coming off the vacuum. I can't get it off of there. But you can take the handle off. That's what this is. This, if you flip it forward, the whole handle comes off, and that's typically how I have the vacuum stored, because it's just too much height to be able to fit in the bedroom closet that I have the rest of my vacuums in. And then that yellow button down there will release the main body of the vacuum from the base of the vacuum. So, I will put the wand back on the vacuum. There's a little tab that it sets in, like that. And now the hose can easily be removed when it's inside the vacuum like this, because that button's being pressed all the time. So that's pretty cool, I guess. Now, coming down to the front, you've got your bag door. And in your bag door, you have a really cool mechanism that lifts the bag up and down as you open and close the front handle. So when it's flush to the body, that means it's closed. And what it does is it pushes the bag up onto the bag mount, or not the bag mount, but the dirt inlet, and it has a nice gasket around it. This is not a genuine Sebo filter, but this is where the pre-motor filter is. It's extremely large, and it's a nice column. So the suction goes all the way up, and it's going to be able to, not rather than just having a suction inlet right here at the bottom of the vacuum for all the dirt to come in, but it goes up the whole side. So you've got kind of more even distribution of the suction through the whole bag. So it's going to be able to fill a lot easier. You're not going to really lose power because the suction will be up here even when the bag is full to about here too. So that's really nice. And you have like a metal filter retainer here. It has to be pushed upwards in order to work properly. So when you push it up, like that, if it wasn't in the way, which it's designed also to not let you close the bag door if the filter's not in place, like that. So that's how that goes on there. It is a little dusty in here, and I do not use genuine Sebo bags because I don't have a warranty on this machine anymore. I got this new, but I didn't buy it from a dealer. But I use Crucial vacuum bags on this machine. They're not printed, but I got like a 25-pack for Windsor or Sebo uprights for probably like $20, and I prefer cloth bags anyway. So this just pops on there like so, and then to close it, you press that down. Very simple, very self-explanatory. You have a brush roll down indicator because it is an automatic upright. That's not just a saying that they call it. It automatically adjusts its height. So the down, the up, the check brush roll, and the bag full clog. This button pops this little door off the side of the vacuum to be able to check the brush roll and clean the brush roll. The vacuum also will lay completely flat when reclined, and you can see I do need a new brush roll on this vacuum. It's pretty worn, and you also have a clean out port right here that is spring loaded, and that single wheel right there on the front of the vacuum, very similar to the ET1 power head. Alrighty, so I am going to, and fingertip control on the front. It's a very quiet vacuum for the most part. I will get some junk to vacuum up with it. If I can get this is always the biggest heartache of doing these videos, is trying to get this stupid camera to cooperate. Alright. Okay, so it's oatmeal again today. We went shopping and got some oatmeal, which they don't know that I use this to do vacuum videos. Put some over here, and I'll probably make a line down what I've already created for the mess, because I don't want to move the camera again. Alright, so handle releases in the back. I'll let it adjust all the way. Now it adjusted upwards, which I don't really like. Did a pretty good job. Okay, so this is actually the first vacuum I used on this carpet when we bought it. It did a pretty decent job. I really think that it needs a new brush roll, and it would probably do better. I think that in itself is throwing off how well it's able to clean, and it's irritating me. So I want to know if it's going to do a little bit better of a job if I replace the brush roll, and I think it will. And it hasn't seen a whole lot of use, but I don't think that it's doing that too hot of a job, because the grooming is kind of mediocre on the vacuum, and the pickup is kind of mediocre on the vacuum. And I don't necessarily think that it's the vacuum's fault, but it's kind of given it a bad name in my eye. The suction's not too bad. I'll show you this wonder right here. Isn't that amazing? And the brush roll will stay running, but the vacuum will go all the way up when the vacuum's in the upright position. And I'll show you the folding flat portion. It folds completely flat. Even if you pick it up, it has a little bit more give to it. It'll actually kind of do like a back bend. And then here's your post motor filter. So this slides, releases, and you can see I've replaced this semi-recently. I maybe used it 2 or 3 times since the vacuum has been used. Or since the vacuum's been replaced. Must fit on there better like this. Alright, and then this goes on here like this. And that's the video.